Greetings, child of God. You must have a conversation with God. One of the things that will change your life is not money. Yes, money can change, but actually it has a temporary change. It brings a temporary change. But what I know, when you meet God and then have a conversation with Him, that conversation can turn your destiny to become a message in Jesus' mighty name. So I just want to ask somebody who's there, have you ever had a conversation with God? And do you yearn to have it? And are you still having it to those who have ever had it? What I know, you cannot hear from God and they remain the same. Everybody who heard from God never remained the same. But God touched him, God used him, God elevated his life, God did miracles, signs and wonders within his life. So let me tell somebody who's there, always yearn to have a conversation with God. It will give you a testimony, it will make you wonder, it will give you a solution in tough times. When you're lacking direction, have a conversation with God. When you get that conversation with God, then your life won't remain the same. In Jesus' mighty name. And I pray that as I speak to you about having a conversation with God, I pray that may you always desire, may you always yearn daily to encounter God and then talk to Him. And then, spend some time with Him. The Bible goes on to say, it talks about that in the beginning, God created Adam and then Eve. He placed them within the Garden of Eden. And this is what happened. After placing them there, God used to come in the cool of the day and then He used to have a conversation with them. And it came to pass one day whereby He came to have a conversation with them. And He asked, "Hey, Adam, where are you?" And God and this girl, and Adam and his wife, they told God, we are naked. Why are you naked? And they told him, we ate from the tree. But actually, we see that conversation, it helps us. So you must have a conversation with God. Somebody who needs to see your future changing. Somebody who needs to go somewhere. Somebody who needs to see yourself becoming great. You need to have a conversation with God. And then God will speak to you. God will reveal to His mysteries in Jesus' mighty name. Everybody who has come on board, Madame Eunice, Madame Liz, may God bless you so much as we talk about having a conversation with God. I pray that may your life never remain the same. Everybody who talked with God never remain the same. So that's why I pray that you must have a conversation with God in Jesus' mighty name. What has made us to be where we are? What has made us to reach where we are? It's because in every step, every direction, we inquire from God. What should we do? Where should we go? What should we do next? And always God is there to give us direction. It's always there to give us, counsel. It's there to give us, knowledge on certain matters that we want in life. So I just want to challenge you. May you always start to have a conversation with God. Tell God about your future. Tell God about your family. Tell God about your academics. Tell God about your businesses. Tell God about what is disturbing you. And He's there. He will give you a solution. Always need to understand, however much you cannot see Him, but it's the God who is not a statue. It's the God who can see. However much you cannot recognize Him, but it's the God who sees your infirmities, who sees your weaknesses, who sees you when you are down. So always talk to Him, and when you talk to Him, He will show you the way. He will reveal Himself to you, and then you will never remain the same. Have a conversation with God in Jesus' mighty name. Come on, somebody say me. Never go to marry that man before you have a conversation with God. Let God first reveal that man to you. Come on, somebody say me. Never go to start a business without having a conversation with God. Because it's God who can show you where to invest, and then you will harvest. Come on, somebody say me. God knows the best investment, and He knows He will give you the blessing for the harvesting. He knows where you can invest, and He knows where you can harvest from. Come on, somebody say me. So I pray that in all you're getting, in all you're doing, in all your daily pursuit, you seek to have a daily conversation with God, and then your life won't remain the same. In Jesus' mighty name. Come on, somebody say me. Madam Jesha, thank you for coming on board, and may God bless you so much. And as we talk about having a conversation with God, I pray that may you desire also to have an encounter with God, whereby you tell Him about your life, you tell Him about what you are going to do. Oh God, I'm going to do this business. May you come and show me, should I embark on this business or I shouldn't? It's a biblical principle ever since the Old Testament. Our fathers in faith, they used to ask God, they used to inquire from God. They used to put there, a covenant box. They used to ask, get inquiries from the priest, and the priest could direct them, go for battle or don't go for battle. That was a mean. And when God tells you, go for the battle, whenever those guys went for the battle, they overcame. Simply because God was backing them. Whenever you have a conversation with God, and God tells you, go, automatically you will overcome, because it's God backing you. And you are not operating within your physical energy or your physical wisdom, but you are operating under the direction, under the atmosphere, which is divine, under the undefeatable atmosphere. You are operating under the unstoppable atmosphere, under unlimitable atmosphere. So I pray that in all you're getting, in all your daily pursuit, have a conversation with God, and then your life will be a message and a testimony upon the earth of the living. Come on, somebody say amen. So let me tell somebody who's there. Try to get a conversation with God. When you have a conversation with God, automatically it will recharge your life. Because when you meet God, somebody must listen to this. When you meet God, you are recharged. When you meet God, your destiny is revived. When you meet God, your life is forgiven. When you meet God, there is light which shines upon your life. And then you will no more be a Saul, but you become a Paul, who is an apostle. You will never persecute God, but you walk according to the principles of God in Jesus' mighty name. May God give you energy so as you can desire to have a conversation with Him in Jesus' mighty name. It's a time whereby you are recharged. Now, recently I talked about a message in the Gospels talking about recharge your life. When you go to, when you read this Bible, you are encountering God. You are conversing with God. God is, speaking to you through His word, and you can never remain the same. So may you always desire to seek a conversation with God. He will tell you about your family. That's why the Bible goes on to say, when you read the book of Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 3, ask me and I will show you the remarkable secrets. You don't know about things to come. There are many things you don't know about. Your academics, yes, you learn many things, but I'm telling you, your academics, they won't tell you all issues of life. Come on, somebody say me. That's why you find even a certain professor who is so much educated, and yet you find him in the slide. Why? Because the education is limited to some extent. But when you meet God, He will give you His wisdom. He will share to you, His secrets about your life, and your life won't remain the same. So I pray, in all your desire, have a desire to have a conversation with God. Come on, somebody say me. Ask me, and I will show you the remarkable secrets you don't know about to come. Ask Him, He will tell you about the secrets concerning your marriage, concerning your family, concerning your future. He can reveal to you what are the family ties that are bounding you, and then you also begin to pull down, begin to uproot, begin to dismantle, begin to destroy all the clanic demons and then the family ties that are limiting your family from progress. Sometimes you having a prayer, then prayer without direction will never make a change. Let me say it again. Prayer without direction will never make a change. That's why we need the direction and the guidance of the Holy Spirit. When the Holy Spirit is there, He will guide us so as we can pray according to the will of God. And we shall always be victorious in whatever we shall pray. And we shall always get results. So I pray that may you have a conversation with God. And that conversation, it will guide you. You will know what is limiting your progress. You will know what is limiting your family. You will know what is, hindering you from getting married. And then God will speak to you. Let Him be your father. Let Him be your guide. Let Him be your comforter. Let Him be your counselor. He's the Prince of Peace. He's the mighty warrior. He's the God who can give you guidance. And Solomon made a request to God. The Bible goes on to say that this man called Solomon was a young ruler. He had succeeded his father David. David left a legacy whereby it's so hard for him to beat. And yet here comes Solomon. You are not even a military trainee. You have never been in a political school. And yet you have succeeded your father, who is a strong man, who is a fighter, who is a politician, who is a man of God, who is a worshiper. What are you going to tell the people? Because the people saw your father doing tremendous work, doing extraordinary. Now what are you going to tell your people? Solomon had to tell God the truth. He had to tell God, I am not wise. I need your wisdom. You have given me such a responsibility. My father has given me such a responsibility. And this is the responsibility whereby I have to take care of my fellow, my nation. I have to decide the issues. I have to mend laws. I have to, take over the legislative issues. I have to sign, decrees. I have to sign treaties with other kings. And if I mess up, I might sell my nation. I might put my nation at stake. So I need wisdom. And Solomon told God, oh God, give me wisdom. But how did Solomon get the wisdom? He got the wisdom after confronting God with a sacrifice and repentance. Solomon first, sacrificed to God. And having if you want to get a conversation with God, you must first of all have a sacrifice that you offer to God. I'm telling you, sometimes God will ask you, why should I intervene in your situation? Why should I intervene and then give you a child, Hannah? And you must tell God, you know what? You giving me a testimony, you giving me a miracle, it's not just based on, satisfying my ego, satisfying my, my soul. No, if you give me a prophet, if you give me a child, he will be your prophet. Sometimes God will ask you, why are you asking me for this? There must be a purpose for prayer. Not just prayer, but prayer to be answered. There must be a purpose. Come on, somebody say amen. For prayer to be answered, it must have a purpose attached to it. God will not just answer any prayer, but the prayer which God will answer, it must have a purpose. Hannah had to have a purpose as to why she was praying. Don't tell me that it was her first time for God to go to God for prayer. No. This girl Hannah, she was already telling God, I want to shame Penina. She's calling me a man and not a woman because I cannot produce. Oh God, come and shame Penina. And God said, I cannot intervene simply because you want to satisfy your life. What I will only do is one. Where do I benefit from? Where do I benefit from? And when Hannah realized that, he told God, oh God, I'm tired of this. But if you give me a child, this child will be your prophet. Until God, until your prayer has a purpose, has a divine purpose, automatically that prayer will produce results. The Bible goes on to say, you ask and you don't receive because you ask amiss, out of pattern, out of formula, out of order. You ask and you are not given because you ask amiss, so that you can just spend it on your own lusts. Prayer must be based on the divine purposes of God. If God doesn't gain from it, automatically your prayer will be in vain. So as I talk about having a conversation with God, go to God with a good conversation and tell the Holy Spirit to guide you as you speak to God, as you pray to God, as you seek Him. As the Bible goes on to say, ask and you shall be given, knock and the door shall be opened unto you, seek and you shall find. But let me ask somebody, why do we sometimes ask and we don't receive? And why do we sometimes knock and the doors they are not open? And why do we sometimes seek and we don't find? Because our seeking, our knocking, our asking is not based on the divine purposes of God. It's not all about talking words and then speaking a lot of scriptures. No. You can have the scriptures and you pray based on the scriptures, but your prayer is not answered. Any conversation with God, it must be based on the divine purposes of God, and then it will yield results. It will bring results. So let me tell somebody who's there in this year, have a conversation with God and your life won't remain the same. Tell God, do not hide anything from God. The problem we are having these days is because we are hiding some of the things from God. Have a conversation with God, not just about the miracles, not just about your future, but tell God about your real you. Tell God, days ago, there was lust which came all over my body. Tell God, whenever I see this man, yes, I'm not mad, but I feel like sleeping with him. Whenever I see this woman, she's so beautiful, and I feel like, I'm lusting after her. God, may you empower me. Tell God the truth. Be real to God. Until you say it out, God will not know it. I'm telling you. God cannot assume that you need healing. God cannot assume that you need power. God cannot assume that you need heavenly intervention, that you need victory, that you need, prosperity, that you need, to go forward, that you need your destiny to be, lightened up. God cannot assume. You must verbalize your request. You must verbalize your need. You must call God on a legal basis. You must invite God on level basis, and then God will come, and you see him fighting for you, and you see him breaking the chains, and you see him transforming your life to become a message whereby it has become a mess. Mina, have a conversation with God. It has nothing to do that, you know what, I'm busy. Don't tell God that you are busy and yet you cannot have a conversation with God. Don't tell God, you know what, I love you, and yet you cannot have just even 10 minutes of having a speech with him. And when I talk about having a conversation with God, I don't mean, you know what, telling God, you know what, give me a car, give me this. No, when I talk about having a conversation with God, I mean telling God about your issues that are disturbing you daily issues. And also, you know what, have a time whereby today you're not going to ask for the needs, but you have gone to tell God, you know what, oh, I just come to worship you. I want to thank you because yesterday you did for me this. I want to honor you. And that one will make a change in your life, and your life won't remain the same. So have a conversation with God. Come on, somebody say amen. Solomon had a conversation with God. He had to tell God the truth. God, I'm weak in this. Unless you intervene, I cannot overcome this. Come on, somebody say amen. Solomon had a conversation with God. He told God, you know what? I am foolish. Somebody must tell God, you know what? I don't understand. And may you always give me the grace. And when you tell God, God will come and he will give you your request. Because he has never told the house of Jacob to seek him in vain. Come on, somebody say amen. I believe I'm trying to speak to somebody about having a conversation with God. What has made us to be where we are, and what has made us to get what we have, and what has pushed us to higher levels, because on each level we ask God, should I go this way? Should I do that? Should I befriend that one? Should I speak this? You need to let God be your guide. You need to let God be your counselor. Come on, somebody say amen. So Solomon asked God, and God gave him whatever he wanted. Child of God, let me tell you this. This is a year whereby we must have a conversation with God. You must have a conversation with God. Tell him about your affairs, about your relationship, about your social life, about your financial life, about all the aspects of your life, because God desires to become your full friend. Not just being a friend on Sunday, not just being a friend on Monday, not just being a friend on Friday overnight, but you must be a friend every time, whereby you talk to him. Come on, somebody say amen. I've seen it, and I like to have a conversation with God. I cannot be in a life whereby God does not speak. Because if God doesn't speak, then my thoughts will speak. Then the devil will speak to me. If God is away, then you cannot be alone. You cannot be, you know what, operating within a vacuum. Always the devil will come and then fill that vacuum. Are you having any conversation with God? Let us be like Solomon. He told God the truth. You need to be real to God. This is disturbing me. This is challenging me. And I need your help. And when you say that, God will come, and then you will see his testimonies manifesting within your life. Come on, somebody say amen. But your conversation with God, your prayer to God, it must be based on the divine principles and then divine purposes. Have a purpose as to why you pray. Don't just, you know what, pray. Don't just talk to God. But whenever you go to God, have a purpose as to why you have come. And that one will change your destiny. Come on, somebody say amen. So Solomon told God the truth. I am not wise. Yes, people say that is our new king. But actually, if you don't help me, I'm going to make city treaties with other kings. And I might end up putting down the legacy that my father David left for me. David was a man who left a legacy. David was a man who was, heads and shoulders above. People respected him as a mighty warrior. Now here comes Solomon. You are not even a military trainee. You have never gone to a political school. And yet your father said, take it over. What are you going to do? You've got to get another support system. And that is the divine wisdom. And that wisdom will equip you to lead God's people. That's why Solomon is being talked about as a man who is so wise, who has ever existed. And some of the proverbs that we use, they are based on Solomon's wisdom. Simply because he realized his inadequacy. You've got to realize your inadequacy and tell God about your inadequacy. Come on, somebody say me. Where you are inadequate, tell God, you know what, in this area, I'm lacking, you know what, your mercy, your grace. I'm too weak in this area. Because the devil will always pass through your inadequacies, will pass through your weaknesses to overcome you. It was Apostle Paul said, I told God, you know what, I'm tired of this issue. There was a messenger of Satan who, you know what, who put a thorn, who pierced me with a thorn within my flesh. And for several times I told God, take away this, but God said, you know what, my grace is sufficient unto you. Now listen to this man. When the thorn was pierced within this flesh, he never kept quiet. He told God, he pleaded with God. Plead with God until he gives you an answer. Never keep quiet when the lust is taking you. Never keep quiet when that sickness is taking you. Never keep quiet. The Bible goes on to say, you that make mention of the Lord, keep not silent until he makes Jerusalem a praise upon the earth. Now, here I'm talking about this physical praise and then the spiritual praise. There is a physical praise when you get a car, when you are blessed, when you have the money. But here we talk about the spiritual praise, whereby, yes, people, they are praising you for having the cars, but also God's praising you for being righteous, as Job was. Come on, somebody say, man. We need to have both the spiritual praise and the physical praise. People praise us, you know, we are singing very well, and yet God knows within the depth of us. He knows that, you know what, a fortnight before, pride was taking you. A fortnight before, you know what, you had lust, you had jealous within you. God sees within the heart. You've got to open up to God. Even about your relationship. Yes, you have your own qualities. I want a man who is an American. I want a man who is of hate. I want a man who is having 6 packs. I want a man who is eloquent. You know what? Having, you know what, a good speech. I want a man who is educated. I want a man who is having a you know what, a car. It's okay to have your own qualities. But what is God saying about your qualities? Are your qualities God's qualities? Am I talking to somebody there? Are your qualities God's qualities? You will know God's qualities. The Bible goes on to say, my ways are not like your ways, nor my thoughts like your thoughts. Now, is God depriving us? Is God limiting us from knowing his ways? No, he's not limiting us. But he's telling us, you know what, you better seek me and I will tell you my secrets. Ask and I will show you the remarkable secrets. You don't know about things to come. Don't think that, you know what, simply because you are educated, simply because you have counselors, simply because you have a PhD, I have a degree, I have money, then you know all things. No, there are things that you don't know, that only God knows them about your future. And if you seek God only, he will reveal them to you. There are things that only God knows about them. And they are revealed. They are brought, you know what, to enlightenment. They are brought enlightenment unto your ears and to, you know, your sight when you encounter God on daily basis, on Lego basis. Come on, somebody say amen. So I believe today I'm talking to somebody. It was Bartimaeus who had a conversation with Jesus. He told Jesus, you know what, oh Jesus, as if I'm messing up. He used to come and beg each and every day. He used to come and beg each and every day. And he had a man is performing miracles. A man is healing the lepers. A man is raising the dead. A man is, is walking on the waters. A man is making the multiplicity of the food, of the bread, of the fish. And this is what he did. One time Jesus was passing by a way, you know, it was called Jericho with his disciples. And Bartimaeus was there sitting. And he thought to himself, somebody must tell yourself. You know, you've got to speak to yourself. Yes, you want God to speak to you. You want people to speak to you. But you get time and then speak to yourself. Because sometimes churches bypass us simply because we don't speak to ourselves. And he said to himself, you know what? Since I'm not allowed to shout, but this time, yes, I'm being used to begging, but this time I'm going to shout. It begins with you. Things don't just happen. You must start on the journey. The lepers started on the journey. When they started on the journey, God saw their faith. God was there looking for somebody to use. Sometimes, you know what, God is able to do exceedingly, but if we don't take the move, God will never take the move. God will take the move if we take the move. The lepers took the move and God took the move, and God gave them victory. You will never see sometimes the victory of God being experienced within your domain if you don't take a move. You must take a move and God will take a move. If you fear the crowd, if you still fear, you've got to realize the one who is living within you, that is greater, that is capable, that is mighty to save, to heal, to do exceedingly. And the leper said, no, the one I'm going to call, I believe he can do exceedingly. I believe he can give me the sight. You've got to realize whom you're calling. You've got to realize whom you're having a conversation with. Am I talking to somebody? That's why some people, they're not given what they want, because they don't realize whom they are talking to. But Timaeus realized that when I call this man, he can give me the sight. Sometimes we are limited because we don't realize whom we are calling. And he said, I will call once. He called once. Jesus of Nazareth, son of David, have mercy on me. Second time, Jesus of Nazareth, have mercy on me. And Jesus wasn't responding. That one teaches us persistence. In having a conversation with God, continue to talk to God. Yes, he doesn't respond to you, but his ears are not dead. His ears are not dead. He's healing. His eyes are not blind. His mouth is not, the dumb, he cannot speak. He can speak. He can speak, and he still speaks. He can heal you. He can change you. He can touch you. He can transform you as long as you get a conversation with God. When blind Bartimaeus had a conversation with God, he was no more again blind, but he received the sight. I was once lost, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. That one became his song. He was meeting people, talking to people, give me this, and people were not a solution. But when he made the King of Kings, the person who was there in the creation, he managed to receive his sight. Have a conversation with God. But Timaeus talked to God. Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Can I have somebody who will tell God when you go for prayer today? Jesus, have mercy on me. I am a sinner. Have mercy on me. I am jealous. Have mercy on me. I don't love others. Have mercy on me. I'm not righteous. Have mercy on me. This habit is taking me. This lust is taking me. Tell God. Until you tell God, God doesn't know it. You must verbalize your request. You must verbalize your need to God. Come on, somebody say amen. Realize and know your God. Whenever you go to God, even don't limit your God by asking small. Ask big. Realize whom you are talking to. It was Mary who was the mother of Jesus. He realized that, this is not just a son to me, but is also a savior to me. He realized, this is a savior to me. And he called upon God. No, he told the servants, whatever Jesus tells you, do it. Fill the jars, 6 water pots, and they filled them to capacity. When they filled the jars to capacity, and they listened to the words of Jesus, Jesus turned the water into wine. You've got to realize whom you have. Mary realized that, this is Jesus, the Son of the living God. Yes, he's my son. But there is something special upon him. So whenever you go to have a conversation with God, you've got to realize the identity of your God. And don't limit him. Yes, you see the waters. It is it's not maybe impossible to find water being turned into wine. It's not also maybe impossible to see HIV being healed. It's not also much maybe possible to see cancer being healed. Sometimes we say, maybe malaria can be healed. Maybe kwashiorkor, maybe this, maybe ulcer can be healed. But when it comes to HIV, people say no. If you believe in God, believe him even within the things that look to be impossible. That seem to be impossible within your sight and within your energy and within your wisdom. Don't limit God. Tell God about everything. Don't limit your God. Your God is so powerful. It's so mighty. Since when can the water be turned into wine? It can happen as long as you realize there's no one. This is not just a child, but he's a son of God. Come on, somebody say amen. If you get to understand your God, then your life won't remain the same. It was Jacob who fought with God. He had a conversation with God. He told God, you know what? Even I'm a thief. My name means a thief. But today I will not leave you until you bless me. That conversation with the angel of God turned the destiny of this guy called Jacob. If you get a conversation with God and tell God, I will not stop speaking, I will not stop, I will not leave you until you do something within my life, automatically you will see it manifesting within your domain and you will give a testimony. Am I talking to somebody there? Have a conversation with God. It was at night. And he never wanted to. No, it was one chance. When you mess up on one chance and say, you know what, no, I won't do this, I won't speak much, you will mess up. It was one chance that Jacob got. He never wrestled again with an angel. And yet, what he got from wrestling from an angel, what he got from that conversation with an angel, he turned his destinies. When he met his brother Esau, he wasn't even fearing, simply because he had met a person who owns all the hearts of men. Before you meet people who are greater, who are going to interview you, first of all, have a conversation with God. Talk to God. Yes, recently I was talking about a sermon called Life is Spiritual. And I told you that some people, before even they go to get apply for jobs, they go to the witches. They first of all get the charm. And we got together on the meeting. And before they give him, a platform to speak, he first of all places on the charms. And we realize that, is the one who was being given the job. And yet his conversation, it wasn't so quite good like yours. So never base on your qualification, on your eloquence, on your wisdom, but let always God lead you. Come on, somebody say me. And before you embark on anything, first of all, have a conversation with your maker. Ask me and I will show you remarkable secrets. Seek an audience with God before you seek. Seek an audience with God before you seek an audience with people. Your audience with God, you will give you favor when you meet an audience of people. Somebody must write that. Somebody must know that. Before you seek an audience with people, first of all, seek an audience with God. When you get an audience with God, then you will be accepted before people. Have a conversation with God about your life, about your future, about your marriage. Have an audience with God. Then God will reveal to you his mysteries. And then your life won't remain the same. In Jesus' mighty name. Have I spoken to somebody? It was Moses who sought an audience with God. He told God, I will not go to the promised land if I don't go with you. Have a conversation with God. Moses had a conversation with God, and this is what happened. He was given the 10 Commandments. When you have a conversation with God, automatically God will show you what He wants. You never move in a life whereby you are stuck, you don't know what to do, but He will tell you what to do. You will have direction. He will be your counselor. Hope I've spoken to somebody. Let me end by this. It was one man who had a conversation also with God. It was called Hezekiah. He was about to die. He told God, no. Yes, Prophet Isaiah, I've heard you. You have told, God told me to prepare my house. Even I myself, I'm sick, I'm about to die. It's okay to die. But as if I've served God, and I deserve to be rewarded with more years. And this is what happened. Hezekiah turned to the wall and talked to God. That's why I told you, never believe the report of people. Always believe the report of God. Before even it can be the report from God, but actually you can talk to God. Is the God who listens to you. Is the God who hears you. You can reason with God about your life. Hezekiah reasoned with God. He told God, I don't deserve to die. I deserve to live. Simply because I have served you. Now let me ask you, why do you, sometimes you tell God, you know what, I desire to live. Why do you desire to live? Why should you live? Why should you get that miracle? Why should you marry that man? And sometimes our prayers has question marks. Why? Why? But your prayer must serve a reason. God, I should live because of this and this. God, I should get that money. I should get that promotion because of this. When you give me that promotion, I'll utilize that level, that position to glorify your name. Hezekiah had served God, and God added him more 15 years. Talk to your God. Turn to the world. Yes, you have a report that you have HIV, but turn to the world. Yes, you have a report that I have allergy, that I have, cancer, that I turn to God. Have a conversation with God, the maker and the owner of your life. Never believe what the doctor said. Yes, what the doctor said, it is true. You are about to die. What the doctor said, it is true. That sickness is about to kill you. What the statistics says, that you can never get married, you can never produce at the age 40 years or 50. God has a final say. Talk to your God. I'm telling you, yes, the statistics, the doctor's report says this, but what does God say? That's why today I say that may you have a conversation with God. The statistics says this, your academic says this, you never performed well, but what does God say? We are born again, so live according to the scientific saying and then the laws. Come on, somebody say me. Never live according to the scientific laws and then gravity, this man said this scientist says this. What does God say? Then your life won't remain the same. In Jesus' mighty name. I believe today I've spoken to somebody. Those 40 minutes, I believe they have added some knowledge upon your life and wisdom. And I pray that may God continue to speak to your life. May you never remain the same. And may God show himself stronger within your life. But always seek to have a daily conversation with your God. Always desire to have a conversation and have an acquaintance with God. Meet God on casual, on daily basis, on, every time. Talk to your God. Acquaint yourself to God. Mary and Joseph, they were not just husband and wife, but there were some acquaintances. I'm going to marry you, you're going to marry me. We are going to produce, we are going to do this. Acquaint yourself also to God. Pour out your heart to God. Speak to God, and God will surely answer you. Until you speak it out, God doesn't know it. You must verbalize your need. You must verbalize your request. You must invite God within your domain on a legal basis. God will never intervene within your life to change your life, to transform your life, until you speak to him. I'm telling you, people. Speak to your God. Have an audience with your God. And then what will happen? It will be miraculous within your domain in Jesus' mighty name. What has made me to be who I am is because God speaks to me. Even the program I'm making, even me preaching to you, is the one who said, Sunday, go and speak to my people. Even the message that I give you here, my words can never make a change. But they are heavenly backed. And when you listen to these words, they are life to everybody who hears them. I've learned that early in life, having a conversation with God. I know what it means to have a conversation with God, and I know its results. I know what it means not to have a conversation with God. And I know its results. I'm telling you people, when you get in a conversation with God, He will speak to your ears. You will get to understand what to do. You can never lack direction. You can never lack where to go. Child of God, this is a way whereby we must have a conversation with God. We must speak to the God of Elijah. We must speak to the God of Moses. People there, wondering, are those really born again? Because we don't speak to our God. You must speak to the God of Isaiah, whom we saw, and his train filled the temple. You must speak to the God of Moses, who reversed the Red Sea. You must speak to the God of Jeremiah, who can use people even though they are young. Have a conversation with God and it will turn your entire life. Have a conversation with God and then your life won't remain the same. Have a conversation with God. Mina, am I talking to somebody there? It was the Magi, the few wise men. They followed the star. They go to baby Jesus wherever he was and brought him, Mila, all the perfumes. Simply because they saw a star. It wasn't just a normal star. It wasn't appearing many times, but it appeared because the child was being born. There is a star you must follow. I'm telling you, there is a guidance you must follow. And you'll find where the baby Jesus is. Have a conversation with God, and your life won't remain the same. When you get a conversation with Herod will seek out to kill baby Jesus. I'm telling you. Always follow the star. Don't follow Herod. Herod told the Magi, told the wise men, after you seeing this baby Jesus, come back and tell me where the baby is, and I will also go and worship him. Moreover, let me tell you this. The star was there. These guys were following the star. But Herod wasn't even seeing the star. I just wonder about that. It is only those who are yearning to see God who will see God. I'm telling you. After talking to the baby, then an angel of God told them, you know what? Don't go back to Herod. If you don't have a conversation with God, you go back to Herod and baby Jesus will be killed. If you don't have a conversation with God, then you will see Peter being imprisoned and killed and massacred within the prison if you don't have a conversation with God. But if you seek a conversation with God, this is what will happen. You will pray, and the angel of God will send down angelic squads that will rescue Peter from the prison. If you don't pray, you will see Peter being killed. If you don't pray, you will see your family members, your life being killed. Your future being killed. But have a conversation with God. Tell God that my Peter has been imprisoned. My future is at stake. My family is at stake. Come and intervene, and God will come. When you read the Bible, many people had a conversation with God, and He turned their entire life. Take an example of this guy called who? Joseph. Joseph had a conversation with God. And the angel of God told him, run away from Egypt and run away from Israel and go to Egypt. Now just imagine God telling Joseph, God is Almighty, telling Joseph, run away from Egypt, run away from Israel and go to Egypt. When God tells you to run, but how will He tell you when you get a conversation with Him? If you don't have a conversation with Him, you will see Herod killing you. I'm telling you. You will see Herod killing your dream. You will see Satan killing your dream. The baby represents your dream. The baby represents your future, your destiny. If you don't have a conversation with God, Herod will come and he will kill your baby. He will kill your dream. I say Satan will kill your life without you realizing. But if you get a conversation with God, God will tell you, what? It's a high time whereby Rita run, Judith run, Dama run, Liz run, Jacqueline run, Grace run. Because God is speaking to you. The devil will seek out to kill you. He will not kill you because somebody is guiding you. Somebody is leading you. It was one prophet You know, there was an army which used to come and attack Israel. And the king asked, who is telling the king of Israel, whenever I'm going to attack, I've made up, my plans? He doesn't come. And his officials told him, there is a prophet within Israel. Whatever you speak on your bed is being, spoken to him. Simply because there was a man who was having a conversation with God. The devil is always seeking your family. But if you have a conversation with God, he will reveal to you what is seeking your family. And you will fight it. And you know what? You cut it down. You dismantle the plans. You destroy the plans of the enemy. Simply because God is speaking to you. He will be seeking to kill your family. And you know what? God will reveal to you. And you tell your brother, I dreamt you when you're going to board a taxi. And that taxi you died. And you tell your brother, don't board that taxi. A conversation with God. I believe today I've spoken to somebody. I wish I had a lot of time to talk about a conversation with God. I've told you various people who had a conversation with God. Solomon sought God and God gave him wisdom. He told God his inadequacy. He told God, what, here I lack. And God spoke to him and gave him wisdom. So people, may God enable you to have a conversation with him, and may your life never remain the same. In Jesus' mighty name. May God give you the grace to seek him, to inquire from him, and you will never remain the same. People who inquired from God, they got the election. I pray that may you inquire from God and you will have the election. You will never marry a wrong person, a wrong partner when you have a conversation with God. You will never be misled. You will never invest in the wrong place. You will never be discouraged when you have a conversation with God. It's a conversation with God that will make your life to be of a message in Jesus' mighty name. And everybody say, amen. I love you so much. Salute. Let us meet again tomorrow for food for the Gospels, and then on Wednesday for food for the soul. Be blessed. I love you. Bye-bye.